Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Felicia Day, and this is the Umbrella Academy Unlocked, where Netflix Geeks give you an exclusive look into the shows you love. Today, we're talking Season 3 of the Umbrella Academy, where our favorite superhero siblings face off against their father's favorite superhero siblings. Awkward. And yes, there will be spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Let's get ready to dive headfirst into Umbrellas versus Sparrows, hear about some of the most badass Umbrella Academy fight scenes yet.
One of the crew members had a box with a stick. So you're just gonna jump and then we're gonna pick you up. So we just kept doing that over and over and over again.
Get some closure on Luther's brutal death scene. Crash the wedding we did not see coming. Break down the ending.
I'm so confused.
And chat about the post-credit scene you may have missed. Finish your juice and turn off the treadmill. The show is about to start. So I am so thrilled to have some of the esteemed Umbrellas and Sparrows joining me here today. Please say hello to Tom Hopper, playing the lovably love-struck Luther. Mm-hmm. David Castaneda as Father of the Year Diego. Amy Raver-Lampman portraying a timeline-tortured Allison. Aidan Gallagher playing hopeful retiree number 5. Justin H. Min doing double time as the Sparrow Ben. And Genesis Rodriguez as Sparrow/Umbrella-in-law Sloan. Thank you, everybody.
Heyo.
Umbrella-in-law.
Very good. That is nice.
Yeah, that's right.
That's class.
Now, we spotted the Sparrows briefly at the tail end of last season, but here, they've officially landed. The Umbrellas meet the Sparrows in the most Umbrella Academy way imaginable. A footloose power dance-off. And things don't stop going off the rails from there. When you first read the script, did you have any idea how long that brilliant opening dance scene would be?
Yeah, well, you kind of get an idea from the script, right? And it's all described, like all the moments were described, right? If I remember rightly, there was loads of bits and what was happening, like you fighting the cube and you and Five having your thing. And
yeah, I mean, but that was
long.
the fight. Yeah, but the dancing was just once John, the choreographer, jumped in and he kind of went out. Like we didn't realize that we were gonna do all those bits.
The vignettes, yeah.
With everyone else, so it became just this like long rehearsal process that was, it was very rewarding at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long was the rehearsal process?
Oh, goodness. Well, it started with us getting John, the choreographer, and his troupe of dancers made a video for all of us of the full dance and sent it to all of us weeks before we even traveled to Toronto. So we kind of had a rough idea of what it was going to be like, so we could all kind of have it in our brains.
Which put the fear of God into it.
Oh, yeah.
It was so fast. I was like, I'm never going to be able to do that.
So you're not a dancer yourself?
Me? No, self-trained.
No, I mean, it's one thing when you see dancers doing it, and you can't imagine actually accomplishing that. In 2 weeks, I was like, forget it. I'm not even going to try to learn this on my phone. I'll figure it out once I get there.
Yeah, and then it was like weeks of Zoom rehearsals.
Yeah.
And then weeks of in-person rehearsals once we all got out of quarantine. So it was, probably like 2 months, a month and a half of working on it.
Yeah.
We couldn't talk about this season without bringing some fan questions in. At ThompsonT1026 on Instagram wants to know, who is the best dancer out of all of you guys? Is anyone going to say themselves?
Emmy.
Emmy's very good. You pick up things very quick. David's good.
David, yeah.
David doesn't brag about it, but
Okay.
Are we talking freestyle or choreographed?
That's what I was gonna. I was like, David's a great freestyler and in the moment, but I just,
Can pick up a move. You give it to her, and she already knows the dance.
Jake is actually
Jake's
really
very
good too. Jake comes
Jake's
from
also the
stage world.
Broadway.
Yeah. So they were both very good.
You have to have all this
he's dabbled in stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can tell the fans love this whole sequence because I have yet another question from Ezra on Twitter. Who broke character the most when shooting for this scene?
I definitely knew I was
The
breaking
dancing.
character, whether you were aware of it. I was well out.
I feel like
Don't
Emmy
mess it
also,
up. Don't mess
like
it
you were
up.
laughing tons throughout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
just
it's-
decided to suspend actually being Allison because it's all a dream and it's ridiculous. So I was like, I'm just gonna have fun.
Yeah.
So I think I was just laughing the whole time.
There was times where it just felt like a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
But
did.
I also would just get in my periphery other people dancing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was a good time.
It was fun.
And actually, each
really
of the
good.
vignettes, when we saw them, that was the first time we got to see them,
Yeah.
the others. So it was actually a joyous, funny occasion because we got to see our fellow siblings perform for the first time together.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
really
And when it was in unison at the academy, and then watching Luther do this thing, it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. You were so serious doing that beginning start.
Yeah.
I couldn't hold my breath.
There's a lot of laughing.
Yeah.
A lot of laughing.
Emmy, you're the resident queen of musical theater. Why do you think these musical numbers resonate so strongly with the fandom?
I think it's the juxtaposition of like superheroes and, I think the show has incredible like comedic moments and then also really serious and grounded moments and the family dynamic and the drama of all of that. But then I think there's these moments where the time is like suspended and there's this real like level of heightened performance, which I think is really cool. It kind of gives you a respite from like what's happening in the moment to just enjoy, to just do that, to just enjoy.
Yeah, well, this show does not leave any genre unturned, does
No.
it? Fans asked us on Twitter, did Aidan Gallagher ever actually learn how to do the floss properly?
Oh, wow.
Do
wow.
it, do
I
it,
never bothered.
do it, do it, do
Hey, the fives can't do it.
We can't
We
do
don't
the
know.
floss, all right?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
You can't either?
I can't do the floss. It's just one.
I thought you guys, you taught him. You guys taught him.
We tried.
Oh, you tried.
You got there though.
4 years
I
ago.
didn't want to
with
get
strong
there.
guidance.
I did not want to
But
get
we
there.
actually haven't circled back to that. Thank you
No,
for
we
reminding
haven't,
us.
But that video
I'm on
lives
it.
on.
Yeah, maybe
Keeps
season
coming
4.
back to haunt us.
You're like, how does this make sense? How does that make sense?
Doesn't.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what you think you should be doing.
Can you do it?
No.
You
kidding?
This whole
answer.
side.
This whole side.
This whole
Can you
side,
do
yeah,
it?
we're just like a
Yes.
no flop
Yeah,
side.
I
Great.
think so.
Okay. David, let's talk about Diego's unexpected path to becoming a dad. What was it like developing that dynamic with Ritu Arya and Javon Wana Walton?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I think Steve Blackman did a great job in casting Javon and getting him to kind of just be open enough to play, because every time we'd go in and we'd play, it was kind of like between me and Wana, it was like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Like it was kind of like this sense of like he was so prepared that when I would go in, all I had to do was play with him, and he was game for all of it. And obviously with Ritu, it was, we've had chemistry from season 2. So bringing that in, it just created a really interesting dynamic between all three, because obviously Ritu was there was these scenes where we do with Wana where, she would be so physical as a mother, like not abusive, but like how Lila would be towards Stan. And obviously Diego wants to do the same thing, so it's an interesting dynamic between all three, but in the end, it was just fun.
And that's what came across. The dynamic and the chemistry that you had it was just really fun to watch until he died.
Oh.
It's blunt.
When there.
We all forgot
blunt
this was
ending.
spoilers
Oh,
for a
God.
second.
I forgot.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Right. I
Oh
forgot.
man, it is brutal how they do it though, because you think, oh, it's fine. And then,
Cutthroat.
boom. So
With a Slim Jim.
it's a lot. Yeah.
He's eating a Slim Jim.
Oh.
Kid doesn't have time to get a Slurpee and a Slim Jim.
Emmy, Allison's realization about her loss of Ray and Claire and how they don't exist in this timeline was incredibly heartbreaking, and how you played it was so beautiful. How did you approach portraying that very unique version of grief?
I think I just tried as well as I could to put myself in her shoes and kind of use the source material of the entire second season of everything that Allison had kind of gone through and the traumas that she collected from being in the 60s, and her deep and immense love for Ray, and kind of finally finding herself without her family and without her powers for the first time, and then making the choice to leave him to find her daughter and to prioritize her relationship with her daughter, and actually losing that. It's like that's devastating. I can only imagine. And so I just I actually printed out the little girl Coco who plays Claire. I have a ton of photos of her and I from the couple times that we've been able to work together, and so I had them like all over my trailer, and pictures of me and Yusuf, who plays Ray, just a kind of constant reminder of like the family and the reasons that, you know, got Allison to where she is just every day at work. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, there were so many layers to your performance.
Yeah.
And you got a double dose of it this season because of your storyline with Victor, which was so heart-wrenching too. How hard was that to play?
I mean, I really enjoyed season 3 of Allison because she, in her own way, got to kind of be the villain of the Umbrellas. I think this is a version of Allison we've never really seen before. She's usually kind of the center and the one that will go around and bring everybody together when everybody starts to kind of fall off the train. And she's always there to like outreach her hand and get everybody back on board. And I think this is the first season where she's like, you know what? I'm actually done with that. Yeah. So I think it was really fun to play and just a version of her that we've never really seen before. And to dive into her anger and to dive into her kind of her trauma and her really fractured mental state.
Yeah, because you're usually kind of the center holding everybody together. It's funny to be the opposite this season.
Yeah.
Aiden, 5 has already lived many, many lifetimes. On a scale of 1 to 10, how over apocalypses is he?
I don't know, 15. Yeah, that man's been through the ringer. So when I approach a scene where he's sort of, you know, the top's coming off of the pot and the steam's sort of bubbling up and his anger's getting to a place where it's a little bit dangerous for the people around him. In preparation for that, I always think about all the stuff that didn't necessarily go on screen, but like stuff from the comics about like his DNA being binded with all of these serial killers throughout time and just all of the torturous stuff that he went through in the apocalypse and the loss of his family and trying to get back and all of that sort of repressed fear and everything that he's trying to tame. So
yeah, well, I mean,
he's over it. He would like a break. He would like just a plain life where he can relax.
Yeah, and how do you? I mean, you were 14 when you started the show. How do you play someone who is so old, and yet how do you add those layers as someone, as a person, hasn't had that much experience in life?
My approach has always been just study the character and try and interpret the dialogue in an authentic way. Plus, it was fun because I was learning on the job. I'm trying to be as good as the cast around me when I'm working, because I'd just come off the back of like 4 years of doing like comedy. So it was a complete 180, and luckily we have an incredible cast and incredible writing and a rich character. So there was a lot to live up to, and it was a constant challenge and very fun.
Yeah. Tom, Luther has always been looking for love, either from his father or from his sister. Yeah, which is tricky, awkward to bring up. How has someone actually reciprocating this love changed Luther this season?
Yeah, well, I think he's shocked, first and foremost, that she's reciprocating it. But yeah, it has brought out, I think it's brought out an inner sort of youth and exuberance in Luther that I don't think we've seen before. And he's just never experienced anything like it, you know. So I think, I talk about him living out his teenage years, and I think that's very much what this season is for Luther, and it just happens over a very short period of time, and then with the apocalypse happening, he just gets the passion between the two of them. I think it gets carried away, and it's all he wants to do is keep this relationship for as long as he can, you know. Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, but there's a giddiness to your performance that is so infectious, really. It's like a little kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
Someone cares about me.
Exactly, yeah.
It's sad. Sweet. Genesis, why do you think Sloane was the one sparrow who was the most open to the Borellis when they entered?
I think Sloane was probably like the Luther counterpart in terms of like, they're both the lovies of each family, and they both wanted so much to have a family and to have like bigger meaning and team. And so it was like a perfect match. perfect match. She was like the dreamer, didn't want to fight anybody, and she meets Goofy Luther. It just happens.
It's really sweet. You guys' chemistry is just off the chain. It's just, it feels like rooting for you every scene. Just please don't mess this up. Don't die. Cutie.
And he did.
Oops.
And of course, no one embodies the contrast between the teams more than Ben. This season, Umbrella Ben, aka Nice Ben, is dead, killed in the yet-to-be-explained Jennifer incident. But Sparrow Ben is a power-hungry jerk meanie, no offense. Always left wondering why no one likes him. Let's take a look.
I'm sorry they didn't invite you to the bachelor party.
I don't care about that.
Yes, you do. You care more about being invited to the bachelor party than you do Faye or the others, or even saving the world.
That... that's crazy.
Is it? You and I, we've never been alone. It's always been the 7 of us. Now it's just you. So congratulations, Ben. You're finally number 1 of 1.
Justin, last season you made a great effort to create the Umbrella Ben from the ground up because Ben is only shown in flashbacks in the comics. So now in season 3, you get to play an entirely new version of Ben. How did you approach building that character?
It was such a fun challenge. You know, we had some prep time before, so Steve Blackman put us on an intense training regimen, all the Sparrows. So we had trainers. So physically, I felt different already, and then vocally, I got a vocal coach to sort of work on my register, my cadence, and in my natural life and is the previous version of Ben, I sort of deflate quite often at the end of sentences, and that's something I recognize while working with a vocal coach. So it was really important for us to sort of keep the sense of control and power throughout his vocal registry and while speaking. And I think those physical elements really helped to embody this sort of new version of Ben that I wanted to play throughout the season. And it was just such a joy to be able to play alongside all the actors in this sort of new way. And there were a lot of things that I continued to discover as the season progressed because I got to interact with all the siblings. And I recognize that, like, even while filming, it was just so odd because I would see some of the Umbrellas filming their scenes, and it was just sort of this like weird art and life thing where I actually was like, oh, I miss that connection. And it allowed me to feel that into the performance, because I think even as Sparrow Ben, he recognizes that the Umbrellas, though they are dysfunctional, they have a sort of connection that the Sparrows never had, and that's something he always longs for.
Yeah, and did that training that you as actors did that bring you together as a group, but you had to fight against it because you don't want to be too functional on screen?
Oh, we're never functional on screen or off screen.
They edit it very well.
Oh, God. Comedy bears 24 hours a day.
We're always fighting, whether on or off, so that's something we can easily bring whenever the cameras turn on.
Genesis, when we meet Sloan and Ben, we meet them deep into their conflicted relationship. How was the relationship before the Umbrellas came in?
I'd say it was really messed up. I'd say it's something like, have you seen The Family in Succession? Like that. Like just manipulative, trying to be number one, so much darker than the Umbrellas, cutthroat. And yeah, I mean, you can see how much different they are. And just by looking at them, all those scars.
Yeah, and that scene really was kind of, it felt almost like the first time your characters had ever communicated in an honest way.
Yes.
So, yeah. Regular fight scenes are so regular, am I right? I personally am only interested in ones where everyone fighting also has superpowers. Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the mind-bending brawls this season.
Come at me, Litterbox! That's all you got? Who's your dad? I'm your dad. your daddy!
Boy.
Wow.
I never saw that scene.
Manny,
Justin.
you pulled them out.
Pulled out the tenties.
Yeah, those are. I mean, just wow.
That was a funny bit.
There's a lot to talk about in all of those clips. David, first, what was it like fighting? Oh, I'm sorry, being beaten up by a cube.
Well, it was a lot of fun, especially when we had to get spun around during green screen.
Yeah, how did that mechanically even work? What was the cube? Was the cube a cube?
Well, we didn't really know exactly what the cube was going to end up being at the end. It was just a box, a white box. And then, and so what we did in green screen was they put a harness on me, and there was this one of the crew members had a box with a stick, and they'd be like, "All right, good. Like this is Christopher, so you're just gonna jump, and then once you land, you grab the box, and then we're gonna pick you up." And so they raised me up, and so we just kept doing that over and over and over again. So, and it was fun, and like there was some ad libs where it was like, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? I'm your daddy. And
It
it's
was
like
fantastic.
It was funny
the green
because
screen footage is phenomenal. Like even without any of the special effects in there.
yeah, with the Everett. Who
But
was,
before the green screen, when we were filming it in the academy, David was just talking to air, and that was hilarious.
yeah,
you were just
it's like,
literally
hey, this was era appropriate.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's he really saying? I didn't really know. What's the cube really saying?
I mean, the whole time, it's just fascinating. You really see that cube as a person or a being.
Yeah, I did my homework.
You did it.
He got to you though, because eventually it all.
I had so many ad libs. Like I called them Happy Meal. I called them Jack in the Box.
Oh
Like,
yeah, those were so good.
Yeah, I called them all these little, these little
Jack
boxes.
in the Box.
Jack in the Box and stuff. So we couldn't use that one.
Yeah. Aiden, that fight scene with Lila was just jaw dropping. I mean, it looked like it took weeks to film.
It
How
did.
can you talk about that? Yeah, talk about the
It took
process.
a long time. So like early on in the script, there was this concept that Lila and Five would have this fight scene, and so I really wanted to have like real, like authentic choreography. So I did a lot of YouTube research and worked a lot with our stunt team to try and get it, and so did Ritu. I mean, without all of that work gone in, it wouldn't have cut like that, and we had to be like really fluid with it because obviously we're shooting around Ritu for obvious reasons, so everyone had to be on their game, and it wouldn't be the scene that it was if we weren't.
Yeah, no, it felt like it was a lot of rehearsal and a lot of work with your stunt double, but also, you two
It looked
had
great
to do,
though, right?
Yeah, it looked great. Everything you did, it was pretty amazing. Justin, what was it like to get your tenties out?
Fun transition, by the way.
The tenties.
Just straight to it.
Those tenties.
You need a T-shirt. That's.
It was so fun. I mean, the team was nice enough to give me a small like rig with an actual small practical of one of the tentacles, or at the time it was just like a pool noodle. But you saw that, right? But it helped me actually physicalize, because it's just hard to imagine. So they strapped something on me, and then after a while they took it off, and then I had an idea of how something like tentacles would feel coming out of my body.
Watching you when you didn't have it and the way you would just do this thing.
Yeah,
it was
shimmy.
the
The shimmy.
Yeah.
The tenty shimmy.
Full commitment, though.
Yeah.
Like it. You have to for that.
Yeah,
type
we
of
had
stuff,
to be
even though
so
it's
serious
ridiculous.
doing things
Yeah.
like whenever we use any of us use our powers on the show, it feels so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to do it with such a straight face because it's the reality of the scene. So
Yeah.
it's just funny.
Genesis, what was more fun to prepare for, the fight scenes or the musical scenes? Actually, everybody answered, but Genesis.
I didn't fight that much. I floated about. So I really didn't. So it was fun because I got to get in a harness.
So most of your ability is floating. So
Floating
did you
and-
have to be in a harness most of the time? Because that hurts.
Yes, sometimes. Sometimes if you're left up there, for some time. But
She's being very
If you happen to be
nice.
left.
She wasn't a lot. It was very
yeah.
physically
Yeah.
demanding.
There's a
on
lot
her.
of floating.
Yeah.
But it was fun, who gets to float for work? So that was great, and you get to float people. So that was also. You know what's interesting? I did not know that I had like orbs in my.
I didn't
hands.
either.
I had no idea.
I didn't either.
I was like, wow, cool stuff.
So that was something you actually didn't know at the time. They just said, "Hey, give her some orbs."
I guess I had orbs. It was kind of cute. I liked it.
Had anybody done a lot of fight scenes in other jobs before this job, so that you felt like
I've done
Yeah.
a whole bunch.
You're all about fight scenes.
This is actually quite mild for me in terms of fight scenes.
Oh,
like
wow.
other stuff I've done, it's like every episode sort of thing.
So you'd rather do a fight scene any day instead of a musical scene?
Oh, actually, because it's so refreshing doing the dance scenes. Like I had so much fun doing it. I mean, I was terrified of getting it wrong, but I loved doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think once you've learned the choreography, you can just let loose and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, not even the impending apocalypse could stop our first Umbrella Academy wedding from happening in season 3. Seriously, I did not think that's where we were heading this season, but we did. Luther and Sloane may have been love at first kidnapping, but their devotion only grows as the world gets closer to ending. Tom, why do you think Luther and Sloane make a good match?
Well, you touched on it before. I think they're the lovies of each of their families, and I think they're both really genuine. Like underneath it all, they're both genuinely good people, and they're honest. And I think their relationship starts with that. That he feels that she's deceiving him, and I think there's a trust that's built very early on. And once they have that, it just grows from there. So I think they just have they're very similar kind of way looking at life, I think.
Yeah, Genesis, filming this was kind of adding romance to sci-fi to fantasy. How do you meld all those styles together and still make this relationship romantic?
I think it just grounds it all. It makes it more real, and with these high stakes that are happening, it was pretty easy when you have a good partner and you trust your partner. But also when I was auditioning for this job, it had zero to do with action. It was more like meet cutes, and like a love scene. So it was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, I get to float.
There's a whole floating thing in this?
Yeah.
And orbs?
I'm orbs. So yeah.
Well, the wedding scene seemed like a lot of fun to shoot. What was it like filming that? Did it take a long time? What was your guys' favorite part of that sequence?
It was 6 days?
Yeah, over a
It was like
few
6
nights. It was
yeah.
amazing because we had like these really long night shoots
Yeah.
planned out. And when you've got a lot of night shoots coming up, you're like, ugh. But actually, it was the most fun
It was so
I think
fun.
we had.
Yeah, that was
We
a
had
blast.
the best time.
It was brilliant.
It was like like one of those giant sleepovers kind of a thing. Like
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
get delirious all at the same time.
Because we were all playing drunk too. So like,
Yeah,
we're all playing drunk.
So it really just played into just being tired and drunk and all that. But it was so much fun. We
It was
had
great.
so much fun.
Yeah.
we all got to we sort of hide behind our dysfunction and are sort of like at each other sometimes, just because the characters won't let that down and just love each other. But with that context, I think it became a very, very cozy set, and we all had a blast, just
Yeah.
being at ease,
I know.
having a good time for once.
They kept rapping me right before they start the dancing or all
the
the
fun
fun
bits.
stuff.
All the
I know.
fun
I'd be
bits.
like, "Good night, guys," and they'd all be like going over the dance floor. And I was like, "See you tomorrow."
Yeah, there was a great moment in the dance section of that where we all got to pick a song.
Mm.
We all gave
Right.
Paco a song that we wanted played at the wedding.
Okay, what was
And
yours? Do you remember?
Oh God, what was
Does
mine?
anybody remember their song?
Mine was
Barbie by Aqua.
Was that yours?
No,
it wasn't mine.
That's yours.
Like really?
I think I picked Need You Tonight.
Oh,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Chuntaro Style by El Gran Silencio.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh, I think I picked Hanson. Boombop. Boombop by
that
Hanson.
feels like a you choice
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with my choice. Big fan.
There was a story in that venue where we were shooting that I remember, like I think after the third night there was like, oh, is this place haunted? You know, there was this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there, and,
Yo, that place was so haunted.
and there was the story that they had heard that there was a wedding there like 100 years prior about this man who was getting married to a woman, and his mistress showed up to the wedding, and this man killed the mistress in that wedding, and then went and had his wedding, and then obviously took off, right? So it was this whole thing, and they said that there was a woman walking around these hallways haunting the venue, right? And so for 2 days we
That's a
thought,
no.
oh my God, this place is haunted. And then by the 6th night, they were like, that was a joke. That was never really happened. So
Who told you
Oh, I
that?
never heard the joke part.
I didn't know that was a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I had a
Someone
great
said
time.
it was a lie eventually.
Yeah.
I heard.
I knew for a fact that place was haunted.
Yeah, but I think that
For a
story
fact.
was so
For a fact.
creative.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah,
Well, that was actually one of the only sets in the hotel that wasn't actually
In the hotel,
on the stages.
on the set.
Yeah.
That was actually an actual location in Toronto, and it was just this massive, like, event
Well,
space.
it's a political building, isn't
Yeah.
it? I think normally it's a
But it
government
just
building.
was-
They hold political government parties there and stuff.
It was like,
So,
it was the weirdest
yeah, big
building.
It probably helped a lot to sort of change the way the show felt for like a brief sequence of
Yeah.
events.
It did, because you guys finally were almost having a good time together, which,
Yeah.
you know, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, of course, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Let's get this over with before I die of cringe.
Drugged and useless, or brilliant and yet maniacal? We saw multiple versions of our patriarch Sir Reginald Hargreaves in season 3, and each was full of surprises, even for him. Let's take a look.
Will you forgive me, son?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. I only wish your self-actualization could have come at a better time for the universe.
I don't understand.
There's an old saying, Luther. The best way to bring a family together is at a wedding or a funeral. We tried the one, now it's time for the other.
Tom, whoa.
Oh.
What did you think when you read that scene in the script? I mean, he's a terrible dad, but he murdered you.
Yeah. It's well, the first thing I thought was, oh, that's me out the show then. Game over.
I relate.
Yeah, you know.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an intense scene, right? Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. The look on your face as he's hugging you of like, finally my dad.
That's the thing, yeah. Yeah.
Makes it
I
more
mean, that's
heartbreaking.
what he's been looking for his whole life, yeah. So,
all of you, really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single person is looking for this father figure to give them some approval, and then he gives it to you and he murders you.
Yo.
Was that the first time we all saw that? I'd never
Yeah,
seen that
no, I
before.
haven't seen that.
What was
Yeah.
your impression? What,
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, especially because he smiles right there.
Yeah. That's all he's ever
Yeah, that was an
wanted.
acting choice.
Because we remember it
that
in
I
the
did.
script too, so you're like, I know what's coming.
Tom's all happy. He's like, yeah, I made you sad.
I made y'all cry.
Yeah.
I mean, can you talk about Allison's motivation to make a secret deal with her father? I mean, that's some bad stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spend the entire season with Allison kind of spiraling the drain with the loss of Claire and Ray, and then dear old Reggie kind of opens up a window and is like, hey, you could change all of that and get not only Claire back, but potentially Ray as well. And I think at that point, she's so done with her family and she's so done with Victor and she's so done with all of them that she's willing to risk it all.
Yeah, it feels like you kind of open a door and go through it. Was that a lot of regret? Were you keeping that kind of layered underneath in a way? Because it is a horrible thing to do, to betray your whole family.
Yeah, I think in the moment where they make that deal, I think a lot it's really malicious on her part and also very selfish. But then I think from that moment on, she starts to see the repercussions of that, like Luther dying and not really knowing what Reggie's plan is and kind of feeling like, oh, okay, it might be spiraling out of control. And now like the marbles are loose and she can't really gather them up fast enough to kind of get ahead of it.
Yeah.
But I think she still that's still in the back of her mind that, this is his plan. If she just trusts him, she'll have Claire and Ray.
Yeah.
Even regardless of how devastating it is and watching, her brother die and the world fall apart and the people that she loves get hurt.
Yeah. It's a beautiful transition you make as you go from that point of ruthlessness to realizing, oh no, what did I do? It almost catches up with you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was I don't think I really saw that coming until we were like actually shooting us finding Luther and just kind of, I think I obviously had like read the scripts and it hadn't marinated yet until we were actually shooting some of these scenes, how much she just is kind of blindly trusting Reggie, and she gets kind of caught up in this and there's nobody she can talk to about it. There's nobody she just has to play
Put yourself
dumb.
in your own corner.
Yeah.
David, how do you think having Hargreaves as a father figure impacted Diego's approach to fatherhood? I mean, he's still awful, but there's a scene at the wedding where Hargreaves says Diego would make a great dad, and it is so beautiful. The look on your face, but also just the moment itself.
Well, I think Diego's had a fear of being his father as a father. And so that's something I think that he has been he learns with Stan that he doesn't want to repeat the same things that his father did to him. So that is a constant fear that he always carries. And so what's really nice, I think, as the season goes along is that maybe he understands him a little bit more about what the father did to him, that he's able to take in that comments at the end when he says, you would have been a fantastic father, because he knows that prior mistakes that his lineage has caused him, he can change that for the better for his kids.
You have an opportunity now.
Yeah.
Aiden, 5 is the last one to step in and complete the 7 bells, but he hesitates. What was he thinking?
He's been mistrustful of Hargreaves for like a while by that point in the season, but he also has no other option because they're outside of time and space in this other dimension. Basically, they're in another dimension that's constructed itself as this hotel so that they can interact with it. And it's clearly some space technology. And, 5 is completely out of options, and he knows that Hargreaves is up to no good.
Yeah.
So, what can you do?
Well, it's when you meet your old version of yourself, you say, don't save the world. Was that, it's very complicated. Which world were you not supposed to save?
Yeah, shooting that particular scene where I'm interacting with old 5 was a challenge because, there's a lot of internal thinking that I have to do in preparation for a scene like that about how the timeline works in our universe. That uncertainty ties into the last episode of, is this saving the world or not? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, and that conflict is really active in you. It's very cool. Let's talk about that ending. Call me Kugelblitz, but I did not see it coming, but I did hear a rumor that none of you know the actual ending of the season yet. Huh? How did that happen?
No,
we thought we knew the ending,
didn't happen.
but
Because Steve doesn't tell us.
Just the absence of a thing.
Tells us
Okay,
nothing.
well, for those of you watching at home, you've seen how season 3 ends, but in this timeline, this cast has not. We literally just got this clip in, and it's on one very secure laptop. Do y'all want to see it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
I don't actually know.
Look at you.
Do you?
Oh,
Roll
man.
the Kugel clip.
Oh, here we go.
It's a headstone?
Luther? It's a bust.
Luther? Oh shit. You can see me?
Yes!
I'm alive! I'm alive! Oh.
That's not all, big guy.
Huh?
You lost a whole person.
Oh shit! My body. Wait. I look amazing.
Okay.
Wait, I gotta show Sloan.
I got my arm back.
This is so cool. Wait, where's Sloan?
Oh, she was.
Yeah, where's Sloan?
She was right behind me.
When Allison hit
Where
the
is
bloody
she?
button.
She's gone too.
You know,
Great
I don't know
question.
about you guys, but I've not felt this good in years. Does anyone know where the hell we are?
The hotel.
Why are you still angry?
I don't know.
This is where it used to be.
I think the old man did it. I think he reset the universe.
You got your fingers back.
Sloan? Sloan!
Hey.
Have you not done that
No
in
more
8
gloves.
years?
gloves.
About any resets, all right? I want my wife back. Where is she, Five?
Glad you're alive,
Exactly.
but please take your hand.
We demand that.
Not until you give me an answer.
Okay, screw this.
Oh.
Something's
Tried
wrong.
it.
That's right, something's wrong. You're about to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, kick his ass.
No, you moron. Power.
I did your dad. Yeah, I remember.
It just takes and takes.
Oh.
That's not good.
Oh, now he's just David.
The tenties.
Alakazam. Ghosties.
His tattoos are removed.
Immortal again?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Wait. How do we get him back, you idiots?
Why are you mad?
He's angry Ben all the
I'm gonna go
time.
find my wife.
No! Luther, you can't go. You were dead 5 minutes ago. You're fragile. I gotta go after him.
No, wait. Klaus, wait!
I'm out, bitches.
Oh, guys, come on, we should stick together and figure this
What are we supposed to do?
Live our lives.
That was.
Not about bitches.
Oh. Ooh, love the song. Looking at Dad.
Asshole.
Oh, the effect shot. Here we go. H.E. Hargrave's Enterprise.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Oh, he ain't dead.
Who that? Who's that?
It's Whiffy.
Whoa. Oh.
Oh.
Holy moly!
Wow.
What?
Wow. So he reset the universe, but not his eyesight? He still needs the monocle?
Sick.
I'm just saying. That was great, though.
Wow.
All right, so let's start.
Fantastic.
Okay, let's start at the very end. How do you guys interpret this ending with the Hargreaves taking over the world? Who has a theory? A theory about what the deal? What was the deal with that?
Story as old as time. You want power, and he finally had ultimate power. Did anything he wanted. So season 4 could go anywhere if we get it.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah, well, he'll do anything for love. You know, got his wife back.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's always
Yeah,
wanted.
that's what it was
right?
always for.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also the Hargrave
'Cause-
Enterprise building.
Yeah, because the Marigold was released in the other planet when his wife died.
Yeah.
That impregnated the other women. So it was almost like a plan that he's been working since season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got everything he wants, and you guys have no powers.
Yes.
So many things. To
Such a great deal,
digest.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make you excited for a potential season 4 where you don't wear that suit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would
I'm
be
sad.
It would be interesting for me because the thing is, when I put on that suit, there's a part of Luther that goes on, right? So I think I would have to learn as Luther will to be without it again because he's not been without it.
Yes.
Since he was like, in his early 20s or something.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fun for me as an actor to put him through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did you get a little FOMO that you weren't in that scene?
Yes.
Sorry.
No. We like Steve loves to withhold the last like 10 pages whenever we're shooting, so we never know how the season ends until maybe 2 days before we're shooting it. And so, but I had actually filmed my ending months before because the house that we use for Allison's like Hollywood, Los Angeles home is an actual location. And so we could only have that house for like 2 days. And so we had to shoot the beginning of my season and the end of my season in the same day.
Oh, that's awful.
Before we'd even, like episode 10 hadn't even been written yet. And
Wow.
so, but I think Steve always knew that Allison wasn't gonna come back and Claire was gonna be there and Ray. And so so now that's the end. I've known the ending for Allison's journey for so long. And so now that just really threw me for a loop. I don't know what happens.
Ooh, it's going to be interesting. David, Lila, and Diego seem to have a fresh start, but I got to ask, what the hell happened to Stan?
Well, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was in Germany, right? So I'm hoping that they go on a hunt.
Yeah. Like any good comic book project, the Umbrella Academy Season 3 surprised us with a mid-credits scene as well. Justin, what version of Ben was that? Is that the original timeline Ben? Is that...
Honestly, your guess at this point
I would
is
love to tell you, Steve doesn't tell me or us anything. I filmed that scene completely in the dark about what I was filming.
Also, like in January,
What were you reading?
like week 2.
It was a Korean book.
Was it good?
It was quite good. I was told to sit on a subway and read this book and think about things.
Were they bifocals or regular?
Non-prescription.
Oh.
But I had no
Wrong
idea, so
information.
your guess is as good as mine.
Well, you heard it here on Netflix Unlocked. We
It's truly unlocked. Truly unlocked. No more questions.
Unlocked,
Enjoy
unhinged.
these deep insights into what it can mean.
Oh boy. Next up, a little game I like to call Ding Ding Ding. Okay, Brellies and Sparrows, you have each been given a call bell. Now, no, they do not summon the Guardians from Hotel Oblivion. That would be awful. Instead, I will show you an exclusive behind-the-scenes photo, and if you know the story behind it, ring your bell and spill the beans. Ready, everybody?
Oh God.
I will be the arbiter of who wins, and it probably won't be fair. Okay, first picture. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say Genesis.
Dance sequence, episode 1. This is the sachet part at the end.
Yes.
We were really trying to nail.
Justin clearly didn't nail it in this photo.
I was hiding in the back.
You're going the opposite direction.
Where am I?
Do you not see your head?
Jeremy was like very specific. We have to nail this part, this clip of we're mimicking the movie. So,
So only Justin didn't.
Yeah.
so Justin was interpreting that.
Thank you.
So it was an interpretation.
Okay, great. Sorry, Justin.
Great
Next
story.
next photo.
I think you're the only option.
You know what? This scene, the treadmills that they chose were not designed for 6'5" men. It was literally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you struggled to run
I
on it.
struggled with it.
If you look at me and Justin Cornwell, who played Marcus, running on that treadmill, we look like we're old men on like we've just broken our legs and we're just getting back into rehab. Like you can't run properly. You're just doing this.
It's like the petite section. It was
Yeah, I mean,
They
where
were
do you buy
literally
these?
this big. The
where do you
treadmills
buy
were
these treadmills?
this long. They were the smallest treadmills.
Tiny
I've ever-
little things.
They were like ones that you like collapse and like
Put
roll
it-
under your sofa.
yeah.
Like they were the smallest treadmills of all time.
Yeah, they scrimped on the treadmills.
The treadmill budget was not up to snuff.
Yeah, and actually, when we had to do these tighter shots, we had to pretend to run, didn't we?
Oh.
We couldn't actually
Oh, no.
run, which was really hard.
Yeah. Next photo.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Okay, Genesis.
I mean, we gotta talk about
He was thrilled.
the obvious.
Yeah.
The obvious. This is when Sloane thinks that Luther is betraying her. That's why she's so serious. But also, it's a serious conversation in a very unserious outfit, because it's very hard to have serious conversations when you can't move. And that is what that situation. We're both very upset about it. Clearly.
Yeah, we do look very serious.
very
we
not
didn't really
happy.
do that very often, that serious thing,
Ever. Like that may be the one serious picture
Yeah.
of us in the shoot.
Yeah.
And so that outfit wasn't flexible at all. It was just basically pleather.
Zero. No, it was leather.
Oh, it was so tight.
No
You couldn't move.
spandex, just leather.
Not comfy.
Didn't bend in the knees or in the joints and whatnot.
It looked pretty cool though. Okay, next photo.
Oh,
Cute.
I can't see it.
you need glasses. That is me and David.
That is me.
We were shooting a scene at Hotel City Inn. I think it was probably our 20th take shooting the scene, because we shoot the scene so many times from different angles with different cameras. And usually around the 20th take we start getting a little delirious and crazy, and so our fine crew members allowed me to do the little clapper thing, which I've always wanted to do. And I don't know what you're doing, a gang sign?
I think that's the fourth take.
The fourth take.
Well, those are 3 fingers, so.
That's 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
couldn't have
Brilliant.
been fourth.
He could be missing those fingers.
That's true.
Did you have your fingers cut off?
I did, but not on this one. Was this the scene where Hargreaves wants to take us to the room, to the White Buffalo?
I think it's the scene where like you go with Lila to the sushi counter.
Oh,
We're all dividing. We're all
that's
like going our
true.
separate ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're about to ring the bell now. Like, don't ring the bell.
Oh yeah.
Don't ring the
Exactly.
bell.
Exactly.
That looks like take 7. Did it take 7? What? I can't see what.
Hold on.
Oh.
That looks like the first take.
Okay.
First take.
Oh, there it is.
Well,
Why are you holding up 3
that
fingers?
setup.
Definitely
Three
a
Of that
fingers.
setup. Of that
We'll
setup.
never figure
yeah.
out the finger
Yeah.
mystery. Okay, one more time. Photo.
Oh,
boy.
Yikes.
Anyone want to chime in?
That was Aiden on a Friday night round my house.
Yeah, we go pretty hard on the Umbrella Academy. Let me see if I remember. So, well, I guess, is it too late to ding?
I think I'm going to give it to you.
An honorary ding?
It's an honorary ding.
Yes, nailed it.
Thanks, Emmy. Yeah, so this is a lot of thought went into this scene, basically for plot reasons and because it's a really cool thing to happen in the story. It's a jolt for the audience. Five's arm needs to get cut off, but he needs to survive it. So we had to figure out a way of like him applying a tourniquet with one hand. So as soon as it gets chopped off, Five's going off and he's sort of tying it, and he's in more pain than obviously ever. Yeah, that was I blew my voice out quite a couple of times shooting that, and also in ADR to try and.
It was very shocking. Your hand just
It was a
flies
lot.
off. It was
It was a
amazing. Okay, next photo.
Oh my god.
Oh.
We're all
The
getting
blue room
tortured
of
by
doom.
Hargreaves' mischief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this at the very end? So most of that was CGI, like
All of it.
Wow, all of it, but that only at
Yeah.
the very end.
The screams were real.
That was a very painful
Yeah,
day. We
that was
were
really
all
hard.
we all had to stare up into these bright lights and scream for pretty much 7 hours straight.
And like
But we
clinch
started
and like
laughing.
hold
Talk
your
about, like,
breath.
neck
We all started
pain.
laughing through the pain.
And they would
I remember.
they would call out varying degrees of pain
Exactly.
and
Since
Yeah.
we couldn't see each other, we had to keep on looking up. We would know by pain level 6 that we would be at a 6, everybody.
Yeah, and everyone thought, when you were in it, it was kind of like, oh, this is painful. But then when they would put the camera on just one person, everyone had to relax. You realize how ludicrous we looked.
Yeah.
Because you'd look at something and be like, ugh.
Oh, I had to watch
There's
all
no
of you
music
do
or
that
anything.
for 10 hours.
It was great.
I was just standing there.
I have to say, I felt
mouth
very
agape.
fortunate that I was dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that point that I didn't
I
have
actually,
to do that. I saw
was
you guys
worried
doing
for
it
a
and
few
was
of you a
like,
couple
no.
times. Because like everyone would
Yeah,
start to
then-
go like blue in the face. And I was like, oh god,
I think that was
someone's
the
gonna
light.
pass out.
Andy.
Yeah.
That was mainly the light.
Yeah. Well, that was our last photo, and that is our
Oh.
show. There we go. Thank you for this incredible cast for joining me at Netflix Geek for season 3 of The Umbrella Academy Unlocked.
Oh no.
And if you're feeling personally Kugelblitz by this episode ending, never fear, because in August of this very timeline, we will be back with The Sandman Unlocked. That's right. And as always, follow us at Netflix Geek for all the things you are geeking out about. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye. Bye.